world-destroying time. I'd like to start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rachah Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. You just heard the name of this one. This is pretty much an alley-oop, from the Elder Apostle Tar through the Spirit. He was, doing the lesson, and towards the end of the lesson, I believe that was a lesson he did yesterday. Pretty much he was going into the statement that Oppenheimer made when he quoted from the Bhagavad Gita, which is Elam, their book, and when he saw the devastation of that, the atomic bomb back then, I believe it was atomic bomb, and when he saw the devastation of it, he said, "I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." And pretty much when you do the research on that, it breaks down to world-destroying time. Now, you have to keep in mind, what I did was I just looked up the word time, because I had a few precepts that came to mind. I was trying to find them. And then I started putting the list together last night, but I didn't finish. So this morning, I spent some time putting the rest of the list together. It's kind of like a little all over the place, so just bear with me. I'm just gonna go in the spirit. But as I say from time to time, time dictates prophecy. And once a certain amount of time has gone by, different prophecies come into play. And we're at the time of the very end, so that's why we see many different prophecies popping off all over the place. So when this individual, who would be considered the modern day Smith, because he's a scientist, and the scientists make the modern weapons. That's what Isaiah 54 is about, where it speaks about the Lord created the smith that blew off the coals in the fire and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. And it also says, I have created the waster to destroy. Matter of fact, let's start off with that real quick before we get into it, because I want to look up that word waster. Because that is very appropriate, because these missiles, which is Esau's blessing, the sword, is what, when they got that blessing, they pretty much were puffing at the world because of not only the strength of their military, but the strength of their weaponry. So they trusted in that. So now we're at the point where this technology that the Lord gave them to so-called protect themselves is pretty much what the Lord is going to use to judge them at the very end, because that's what's going to bring about, the lake of fire, which is the missiles, or are the missiles hitting America, and the lasers from the chariots destroying this place. Not no place where you go to burn forever. So it says, Isaiah 54:16, Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. Right, so the smith would be, the modern day smith would be the scientist. Ancient smiths would work in metal. The scriptures even tell you that the smiths, working in the metal, even after they finish working, the sound of the, hammer hitting the metal still is heard in their ears throughout the day. So in this case, the modern day smiths would be the scientists who are creating the modern day weapons, which are called today as missiles, but the scriptures refer to them as arrows. It says, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. The instrument for his work would be the weaponry that they bring out. And in this case, with the scientists, is the nuclear fusion, I guess you call it, and the different atomic bombs and hydrogen bombs that they've created. It says, and I, meaning Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, have created the waster to destroy. Let's look at this word waster. The word waster is the word shekath. Shekath. To destroy, corrupt, go to ruin, decay, right? Because the Lord is using this instrument that was created by the scientists of Esau to pretty much bring their ruin. And that's why that whole thing breaks down to world destroying time. Now, I actually had found the actual one that Elder Apostle Tar was reading, but I typed in this off of some other information I found. What is the actual translation of "Now I am become death"? And this is what came up. It says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds," is a paraphrase of verse 11:32 from the Bhagavad Gita. The original translation of the quote is, "Time I am, the great destroyer of the worlds, and I have come here to destroy all people." And time is what destroys worlds, because you have something called an age. Now, what is an age? An age pretty much is a time period. It could be an unbroken age, or it can be a broken age, which is a period of time of rulership. All right? When we read Matthew 24:3, when the disciples were asking Yahushua when he was going to come back to reclaim his throne, this is what Yahushua told them. "And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming, and of the end of the world?" Meaning the end of the age. And this is why it's important to look up words, because if you don't look up words, you would think it's talking about the whole entire world, the whole entire planet, people just dying, and that's it. No, but that's why context matters. That's a lesson right there. Context matters. World is the word eon. Okay? Now, eon, it says forever, an unbroken age, perpetuity of time, eternity. So it could, refer to, an unbroken age, such as the world to come, which is Yahushua's kingdom. There's no end to that age. All right? The world universe, it doesn't mean that. Period of time, that's what it means. It's a period of time. Let's see what comes up. Age meaning. It says the length of time that a person has lived on a thing, or a thing has existed. A distinct period of history, grow old or older, especially visibly. What is the full meaning of age? The length of time during which a being or thing has existed. All right, so pretty much, in terms of rulership, the amount of time that a particular nation rules an empire, because we're dealing with empires as far as age is concerned. Because at the time when the disciples asked this question, the Roman Empire was in rulership at the time. So pretty much the age of them, because that was the fourth empire, and after that fourth empire or fourth beast, Yahushua would come and establish his kingdom. But there was a pause in there, and it wasn't explained to the disciples, but they were given signs of things that were to come prior to Yahushua coming back and establishing himself back up on the throne. All right. So going back here, it says, "Time I am, the great destroyer of worlds, and I have come here to destroy all people." This means that if everything eventually succumbs to time, and that time ages matter, which eventually breaks down. And this is where we're at the point of Esau's system, society, falling apart and breaking down. When we go to Isaiah chapter 14 and verse 9, it says, "Hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming," meaning, hard times are coming. The grave is coming for you. You're going to be as though you have not been. All right, you're going to pay for all of the wickedness that you've done upon the earth. "It stirreth up the dead for thee," meaning the other nations, because at one time the nations were weak, but now they're stronger. And as Esau goes down, they become stronger and stronger. And all nations are going to be over Esau in the kingdom of heaven. Even all the chief ones of the earth, it hath raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations, right? So the nations are going to rise up against you too, as well as Yahweh Bashem Yahushua and the Israelites. "All they shall speak and say unto thee, Art thou also become weak as we?" Right? Because remember, in the prophecy it says that who was able to make war with the beast, because no one was able to make war with the beast. It says, art thou become like unto us? Right, weak. And that's why the Lord gave these nations the technology of the missiles. All right. Thy pomp is brought down to the grave, meaning your exceeding great pride is brought down to the grave, meaning you're brought down to a low state. And the noise of thy vials, meaning your bullshit music, especially nowadays, the worm is spread under thee and the worms cover thee. So the corrosion has come over you. And the Lord has broken down your system. When we read the 4th verse, it says that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how have the oppressors ceased, the golden city ceased. At one time, America was this great beacon of light, of hope. And people still believe that to this day, but the Lord is breaking that whole thing down. The Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, has broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. And this is why we see their empire falling apart, because they have ruled for their age. Now we're at the very end, the final days, months, or year or two, or however long the Lord is going to have this place here, which we're at the point where they really don't have much time left, and then that's it, they're finished. But an empire, especially of this magnitude that rules over the whole earth, doesn't usually fall in one night. Even though Yahushua, when he comes back, he's going to destroy it in 1 hour, but you see the fall of it happen gradually, just like the rise of it was happening gradually. So when we skip down, it says, this means that everything eventually succumbs to time. At that time, ages matter, which eventually breaks down, right? Because the time dictates prophecy. Now, when we come down here, some interpretations of the quote include, I am the mighty time, the one who causes the loss of the world. And this is what the loss of the world of who? Of Esau. Because the word world, eon, age, in the Latin is seculi, same thing, age. In the Hebrew is iwalam, same thing, age. It says Esau is the end of the age. All right, and I'm not sure if in the GNT or other translations of the Apocrypha, 2nd Ezra 6, if it would say the word age. Because that is there the end of the age. And Jacob, beginning with Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, is the beginning of it that followeth. I am the mighty time, the one who causes the loss of the world. I am the annihilator of all the worlds. And it's so heavy that this devil, Oppenheimer would say that, when he saw that, because he saw the inevitable destruction of America and certain parts of the world. But he's thinking that it's talking about the entire planet, but it's not, because the Lord is going to make sure that the planet is held together. So it says, I am the God of death, the one who destroys the world. I am the annihilator of all the worlds, meaning of all the ages, because you have many ages. When you go to Hebrews chapter 1, it's also in the 11th chapter, and verse 2, matter of fact, I started one, the Most High, who in sundry times and divers manners spake in times past unto the fathers by the prophets. And the prophets are back here again, speaking the same things, bringing this empire down through the words of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Hath in these last days spoken unto us by his Son, because the last days started when Yahushai hit the earth, when he was born, whom he hath appointed heir of all things, because he is the rightful ruler that's going to come and sit on the throne, by whom also he made the what? The worlds. Many worlds were created. Many ages. Look up their word worlds. Eon. All right? Which is, a period of time. So all of these different empires had their time to rule. That's why Yahushua said, once again, in Luke 21 and 24, it says, and they shall fall by the edge of the sword, meaning Israel, during 70 AD, and shall be led away captive into all nations, and Jerusalem, the land, and those other lands of Israel, shall be trodden down of the Gentiles, the actual heathens, until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled, meaning until all these nations have their time and their rulership to rule. Matter of fact, what does the word times? It might be a different word for times. Yep, kairos, which is the word times, because they had a certain amount of time to rule. All right, point blank, period. So going back here, now the next one is death literally translates as world destroying time, which is where the title for the lesson comes from, which, the elder Pastor mentioned it. So I wanted to, jump on it. It says the quote is said by the god Vishnu in Hindu scripture. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, an avatar of Vishnu, says the quote to the warrior prince Arjuna when he reveals his divine nature to him. Then right here in verse 32, Krishna says the famous line in it, death literally translates as world destroying time. Says Thompson, adding that Oppenheimer's Sanskrit teacher chose to translate world destroying time as death. A common interpretation, right? Because death of what? Death of empires. All right. And death of the final empire, which is Esau's empire. All right. Which today they call themselves so-called white or so-called European, but they're Edomites. All right. Now, let's move along. Ecclesiasticus 44:17. Noah was found perfect and righteous. In the time of wrath, he was taken in exchange for the world. And I've said this before. I know other brothers have said it. When I said it, I said that Noah and his family were the elect of that time. I know other apostles and other brothers have said it, but I know I've said it years ago, that Noah and his family, they were the elect of the time, a very small number in comparison to the rest of the people. Right? It says, Noah was found perfect and righteous. In the time of wrath, he was taken in exchange for the world. Therefore was he left as a remnant unto the earth when the flood came. This time the flood is coming by way of fire. And the ark in this time would be Yahushua's chariot, which you have to understand that the devastation that's going to rock America, the land of Israel, and whatever other part the Lord, deems to be hit with those missiles, that's going to shake the whole entire planet. People get nervous just off of an earthquake that happens in their region. So how much more when the whole earth is shaking and rocking back and forth? So even the people that are on the earth in the remotest areas on the planet are going to feel the shake. People that are in their bunkers and their shelters are going to feel the shake. Even the birds in the heavens are going to feel the shake when the Lord comes and destroys this place. So the safest place will be where? In outer space, in the Yahushua's chariot, up way up above where nothing can reach them. All right. So let's get into some of these precepts. Let's go from there to Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 8, verse 8. Let's start there. It says, if a man desire much experience, she knoweth things of old, meaning wisdom, and conjectureth aright what is to come. Right, because the wisdom in the scriptures leads to the understanding of the prophecies, and when the scriptures say, stay yourselves and wonder, meaning stay yourselves in the scriptures and wonder about what you're reading about. It says, then it says, cry ye out and cry. So once you understand, you go out into the streets and you preach the word, She knoweth the subtleties of speeches and can expound dark sentences. She foreseeth signs and wonders, which we have been witnessing many times, and the events of seasons and times, because the times are coming. The times of Esau and his rulership are fast approaching to come to an end. Now let's go from there to Ecclesiastes, or Ecclesiasticus, chapter 10, and verse 4. It says, the power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. So Yahweh is the one that's in control. The power of the earth is in his hands. It says, and in due time he will set over it one that is profitable, which is Yahushua. And then we, the hopeful elect, will be joint heirs with him in the kingdom of heaven. So there's a translation happening, or going to happen. Verse 8, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. And this is what we're witnessing. We're witnessing the total collapse, annihilation of Esau's kingdom and the slow progression of Yahweh's kingdom / Israel's kingdom. And once they push that MOTB, which is the micro CHIP, which is the major prophecy to be fulfilled, then everything else will move a lot faster. All right, so now let's go from there to the book of Ecclesiasticus, same book, the 36th chapter, and the 8th verse. There's a lot in this chapter, but I just want to go straight to the point. Make the time short. It says sake, but it says make the time short. Remember the covenant and let them declare thy wonderful works. Right, so make the time short. So we're supposed to be really hastening the day of the Lord to come. In other words, to bring this place to an end so that the kingdom of heaven can be established, for righteousness' sake, and that this evil, wicked kingdom can be put down finally. All right, so let's go from there. Let's go to the book of Job, chapter 7, and looks like verse 1. Is there not an appointed time to man upon earth? Are not his days also like the days of an hireling? Right, so that's dealing with man being born and dying, but also there's an appointed time of empires to rule. Time dictates prophecy. We're at the end of this devil's rulership. Let's look up this word appointed time to see what it says. The word there for this one is tazaba'ah, which means that which goeth forth, army, war. Okay, right, so that means this is warrior. This is troop, like for the military, the gathering, army, host, of whole creation, service. So there's an appointed time for everything. All right. Are not his days also like the days of an hireling? So even though America's been ruling for the last 300 plus years, and Esau's been ruling since since like the mid 1300s into the 1400s, it's still really a relatively short time in comparison to eternity. So let's go from there to Jeremiah chapter 50, and it looks like 31. Let's see what that says. Behold, I am against thee, O thou most proud, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem El Shai of hosts, for thy day is come, the time that I will visit thee. So the Lord is about to visit this place, and the most proud shall stumble and fall. Why? Because the Lord is going to trip you. Remember, Asaph said that the Lord set you up in slippery places. So it was all a setup. It was like, the trap was set, and it looked so good to you that you couldn't resist it, and you went and took the cheese, and now you're inside that trap and you can't get out of it. It says, and none shall raise him up, and I will kindle a fire in his cities, actual fire, and it shall devour all round about him. So this technology of the missile or the missiles is going to bring total devastation to you. So although it was tantalizing to you, what's the word I'm looking for? You lauded, you were elated that you got this technology so you can puff at the nations. That's also what's going to bring your end. Let's go from there to the book of Ecclesiasticus chapter 9. Let's go through some of these precepts and verses 11 and 12. It says, I returned and saw under the sun that the race is not to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, nor yet bread to the wise, nor yet riches to men of understanding, nor yet favor to men of skill. Right. So it doesn't matter what qualifications you have, so to speak, because Esau is the basis of men. But what is the qualification? But time and chance happeneth to them all, because the Lord set them up. They had their moment to shine. They had their time to rule. But now they're at the end of their time. For man also knoweth not his time, as the fishes that are taken in an evil net, and as the birds that are caught in the snare. So are the sons of men snared in an evil time, when it falleth suddenly upon them. And this destruction is going to come upon you suddenly. You can read Isaiah, the 47th chapter. It speaks about, these things happening suddenly upon you, falling suddenly upon you. Now, let's move from there to the book of Revelation, chapter 10, and verse 5 to 7. And the angel which I saw stand upon the sea and upon the earth lifted up his hand to heaven, and sware by him that liveth forever and ever, who created heaven and the things that are therein, and the earth and the things that are therein, and the sea and the things which are therein, that there should be time no longer. All right, that there should be time no longer. Matter of fact, let's look up this word time real quick. So that's what dictates your rise and your fall. Time. Prophecy. And the word time is heavy, 5550. Chronos, which that's the Greek word for time. You get the word chronicles. Time either long or short, right? In the case of Esau, it's long because they've been ruling since they were the Greeks, then they were the Romans, then they fell, there was a pause in their kingdom, then they came back through the Renaissance up until this very day. All right? So going back, so there should be time no longer, right? That there should be time no longer. But in the days of the voice of the seventh angel, which is the final destruction, once the seventh angel blows, that's it. That's why the scriptures say that the Lord is going to deliver us in 6 troubles, yea, and 7 there shall no evil touch thee, because the 7th trumpet is the total annihilation and destruction of Esau's kingdom. When he shall begin to sound, the mystery of the Most High should be finished, as he hath declared to his servants the prophets. And any time an empire would go down, the Lord would send his prophets out at the very end to let them know what the deal was, that their empire was coming to an end. Jeremiah 28:8, the prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms of war and of evil and of pestilence. And it's no different today. So let's move on from there. Let's go back to the book of Revelation. This time the 16th chapter. We're going to start at the 15th verse to the 21st verse. We're going to read from 15th verse on down. Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, meaning this truth, lest he walk naked and they see his shame, right? So it's very important to keep this knowledge, this truth, and keep it pure. And he gathered them together into a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon, which the word Armageddon in the Greek, the Hebrew is Har Magad 1, which means mountain of the troops. All right, and that's how we know we're at the end, because the Lord is amassing those militaries over there in the middle, what they call the Middle East, which is really, I believe that's, West Asia or something like that. But there's a whole, it's going to be hard to get people to acknowledge that, because it's just like the term Uncle Tom. Uncle Tom was a good guy, and they made him to be the bad guy. The bad guy is really Sambo. But even today, even brothers that, even though we've gone over it many times, brothers still, hey, that damn Uncle Tom, because it's just something that is just embedded there, It's going to be hard to get rid of. It says, and the 7th angel poured out his vial into the air. Once again, 7, completion. 7th angel poured out his vial into the air, and there came a great voice out of the temple of heaven from the throne saying, it is done. Meaning it's complete. It's completely finished. And that's what? That's Esau's time to rule. That is the time of the heathen empires to rule on the planet. And there were voices and thunders and lightnings, and there was a great earthquake. So what is this great earthquake? The missiles pelting upon the soils of America, upon the land of Israel, and wherever else is going to hit. And it's going to cause a wave of earthquake. And it's going to be so devastating, because when you have an earthquake, you feel it certain places, But an earthquake is not normally felt all around the world. This particular earthquake, this great earthquake, is going to be felt worldwide. Such as was not since men were upon the earth, so mighty an earthquake and so great. And the great city, which is America, was divided into three parts. What are the three parts? The three classifications of men. The sons of the Most High, which are the Israelites, the sons of men, which are the nations, and the sons of the wicked, which are the Edomites. And the cities of the nations fell, because even the nations are going to, fall. Because when Yahushua comes back, he's coming back to take everybody's crown. And great Babylon came in remembrance before the Most High. Great Babylon, or Babylon the Great, is America. And she came in remembrance before the Most High. Why? Because it was time. It's time for this place to go down. Even the prophet said, it is time for thee, O Lord, to work. To give unto her the cup of the wine of the fierceness of his wrath, which is going to come in the form of those nuclear missiles / the lasers from the chariots. This is going to be the great devastation that the Lord is going to bring upon, the great judgment that the Lord is going to bring upon Esau, the nations, and the Israelites that are evil, that are wicked. But there will be survivors on the planet Earth, unlike, what Vocab Malone says. There will be survivors on the earth because they will not repent. These devils are not going to repent. That's why we're going to have to shackle their ass up and beat the shit out of them to get them in order. And every island fled away, and the mountains were not found. And there fell upon men a great hail, because this is dealing with America, Babylon the Great. So everything in them, don't be surprised if because Manhattan is considered to be an island, that might sink. It's possible, but pretty much there's nothing going to be left in America. All the waters are going to be dried up. Everything is going to be, it's just going to be a plain, just like a flat land all the way across, flat desert, once the fire stops burning. And there fell upon men a great hail out of heaven. What is this great hail out of heaven? These are the nuclear warheads that are going to come and fall upon America. Now a talent is about 100 pounds or something like that. Now we know that the warheads weigh a whole lot more than 100 pounds. But when the Apostle John saw it, he saw it and described it as great hail coming out of heaven, falling. About the weight of a talent. All right. It says great hail out of heaven, every stone about the weight of a talent. So the weight of a talent is about 100 pounds, but this is just something that he saw, and he compared it to, to that. But when you look at the stats of, how much a warhead weighs, it's going to probably weigh a lot more than that, especially the front of the missile, which is where the warheads are kept. And men blasphemed the Most High because of the plague of the hail. For the plague thereof was exceeding great. Why? Because the wickedness of this place is exceeding great. And that's how this place is going to go down. You can read Isaiah the 13th chapter for that. All right, so let's move on. Let's go from there to the book of Job 15. See what that says. Job 15, and I believe it's 28. Let me see. Job 15, 28 to 29. And he dwelleth in desolate cities. Yeah, because these places are going to be desolate. This goes hand in hand with Isaiah 34th chapter and others. And in houses which no man inhabiteth, which are ready to become heaps. Right, because this place is going to be totally destroyed. He shall not be rich, neither shall his substance continue. Right, because the Lord is going to take this place out. That's why in Revelation 18, it speaks about you're not going to be able to sell your goods anymore. Your cinnamons and your odors and your, wheat and all that stuff, slaves, the souls of men. You're not going to be able to sell nothing here. Neither shall he prolong the perfection thereof upon the earth. He's not going to be able to prolong the perfection. Because what is the perfection? Ultimately, them having control of the planet, setting a new world order in. But you're not going to hold on to that. Because the Lord said that. Matter of fact, let's go to it right now. Job chapter 20 And we're just going to go straight to the point. Like some of these chapters, you could read the whole chapter. We're just hitting fine points. 23. When he is about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him. What is the fury of the Most High's wrath? Those missiles and the lasers from the chariots. And shall rain it upon him while he is eating, meaning while he is establishing his new world order, the Lord is going to totally annihilate this devil. Meaning that they will survive, the elite will survive in these bunkers. You know, but the bunkers that they're going to survive in are the ones outside of America. Because even the underground shelters in America are going to be totally annihilated. Because there will be no flesh left here. You know? And this place is going to burn for a long time. We don't know how many years it's going to burn for. And it's going to burn for a long time. All right? He shall flee from the iron weapon. What is the iron weapon? The iron weapon are the missiles. Now, the missiles are made of, I believe they're made of steel. But steel is made with iron or something along those lines. I can't remember the exact, exact breakdown of that because I did the research years ago. Steel, has iron in it. Just little factoid. And the bow of steel shall strike him through. Right, same thing. It is drawn and cometh out of the body. What is the body? The nuclear silos. Matter of fact, so you can get this is a nuclear silo. This right here is the iron weapon, which is the missile, right? As you can see there. And around it is what? The body. This is the where it's stored at. This is where it comes out of. And then when they hit the button, the fire comes out. It's moves out, and then you see here. This is the warhead up on top. The rest of the body of this is pretty much a propulsion rocket to get it from one place to the other. And each part of the rocket, when it gets so high, it breaks off. So you have to have enough fuel for each one, and each component has to work properly. So the Lord gave, this is a complex machine. The Lord gave these devils the ability to put all of this together from head to toe and to work perfectly. So going back, it is drawn and cometh out of the body of the silos. Yea, the glittering sword, which the glittering sword are what? Those missiles, when they start banging on Esau. Cometh out of his gall. Terrors are upon him, right? Because once those nuclear missiles are out of there, the silo, the horror starts to set in. The movie back in 1983, The Day After, that was just a little minute idea of what, the devastation is going to be like, and people were shook. I myself watched that when it first came out. I remember that. They were shook. So just imagine, now the technology that they have now, and the great, advancement that they made, and the amount that they have. Because the Apostle John heard the number, it was 200 million missiles. All right, so those are the warheads. All darkness shall be hid in the secret places, which are their silos. I'm sorry, not their silos, the shelters. A fire not blown shall consume him, right? Because you're not going to have to make this fire. This fire is going to be made of itself because it's already contained within the warheads. It shall go ill with him that is left in his tabernacle. Anyone on the swords of America, it's not going to be good. The heavens shall reveal his iniquity, and the earth shall rise up against him. And we see the earth rising up against this devil. Everything is destroyed. The increase of his house shall depart, and his goods shall flow away in the day of his wrath, because it's going to be translated to Yahushai and to us. This is the portion of a wicked man from the Most High, and the heritage appointed unto him by the Most High. This is why it says that only with thine eyes shalt thou behold the reward of the wicked. Now let's go back to Job 15. Now let's go to the 30th verse. He shall not depart out of darkness, right? Because after the destruction, he's going to be brought under subjection, and he's not going to be able to break loose. But I don't care what Bishop Nathaniel says. He's not going to be able to break loose once he's incarcerated, so to speak. The flame shall dry up his branches, and by the breath of his mouth shall he go away. Let not him that is deceived trust in vanity, for vanity shall be his recompense. Right, you're not going to be able to trust in your vain bullshit that you set up. It shall be accomplished before his time. See? Because remember, they have their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever. So before their time, it's going to be accomplished. And his branch shall not be green. In other words, you're not going to flourish anymore. You know, Isaiah 14 tells you about that. You know, that you do not rise and possess the cities. He shall shake off his unripe grape as the vine, and shall cast off his flower as the olive. Because you're not going to be able to reap the benefits of, you know, this demonic venture of yours. For the congregation of hypocrites shall be desolate, and fire shall consume the tabernacles of bribery. All right? They conceive mischief and bring forth vanity, and their belly prepareth deceit. That's right. See what else we got. We already read Matthew 24, so let's go from there to back to the Apocrypha. Let's go to 2nd Ezra, chapter 6, and verse 7. It says, Then answered I and said, What shall be the parting asunder of the times, see, or of the ages? Or when shall be the end of the first, and the beginning of it that followeth? And he saith unto me, From Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. That word world there, once again, would be eon, or seculi, or it would be Iwalam, which are all Hebrew, Greek, and Latin for age. All right. Let's go from there to the 34th verse. It says, And hasten not with the times that are past, to think vain things, that thou mayest not hasten from the latter times. Right? So we're supposed to hasten the latter times. We're supposed to hasten the coming of the Lord. Let's go from there to 2 Peter, chapter 3, and verse 9. It says, The Lord is not slack concerning his promise, as some men count slackness. Right, because he's going to accomplish what he said. But is long-suffering to usward, not willing that any should perish, but that all should come to repentance. Right, all of Israelites, all Israel. But we know that that's not going to happen. But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. That great noise are the missiles, and the elements melting with fervent heat are those missiles. You know, the lasers from the chariots too are going to do that. The earth also and the works thereof that are therein shall be burnt up, meaning Esau's earth. As scriptures say, the third part of men. Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness? And this is why we speak about these things. You know, we do lessons on this, you know. It says, looking for and hasting, see, unto the coming of the day of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, meaning Esau's heavens and the nations, you know, especially America, Israel, and wherever the missiles are going to hit. And the elements shall melt with fervent heat. You know, they have not seen the devastation of a nuclear missile in real time. I mean, they've done, you know, practices and all that, drop stuff here and there, but they have not seen the devastation that these things cause. This is why Einstein, which was alive during the time of this guy Oppenheimer, you know, they were contemporaries. He said, I don't know what weapons World War IV will be fought. I don't know what weapons World War III will be fought with, but World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones, because he saw the devastation that these missiles brought. Just, you know, it wasn't even a nuclear missile. It was an atomic bomb that they dropped. And he made that statement, I am become death, the destroyer of worlds. And Einstein made the statement of, I don't know what weapons World War III will be fought with, but World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones. Because at the time when he said that, you had the atomic bombs, hydrogen bombs, and all that. And they were going into the nuclear age. All right. So going to 2 Peter 3:13, nevertheless, we, according to his promise, look for new heavens and a new earth wherein dwelleth righteousness, right, which is Yahweh kingdom / Yasha Allah. Wherefore, beloved, seeing that ye look for such things, be diligent. And that's why we're diligent. Brothers supposed to be diligent, that you may be found of him in peace, without spot and blameless, right? To be found in him in peace, without spot and blameless, you know? And you see a lot of madness going on, man. These camps, you know, oh my goodness, the shit that they're teaching, the shit that they're doing is just at an all-time high. Wickedness is at an all-time high with these different camps. You know? So let's go from there to 2nd Ezra 7, and we're going to get ready to wind it up. Wind it up, baby. I'm sorry, let me go here. 2nd Ezra chapter 7. And verse 41. Even so now, seeing corruption is grown up and wickedness increased, and we see that everywhere. And the righteous have prayed for the ungodly, wherefore shall it not be so now also? He answered me and said, this present life is not the end, where much glory doth abide. This is going back to what, 400, 500 BC. Therefore have they prayed for the weak. And even before that, when, you know, the different fathers prayed for Jake and all that. And when Abraham prayed for the Sodomites, he wasn't praying for the homos, right? He was praying that the Lord can find somebody in there that was, you know, somewhat righteous, so that his nephew could be spared. But the day of doom shall be the end of this time. And what's going to bring that? Well, prophecy and these missiles that these devils got. And the beginning of the immortality for it to come, wherein corruption is past, right? Which is going to be the righteous kingdom. Intemperance is at an end, infidelity is cut off, righteousness is grown, and the truth is sprung up, right? Where truth is not going to be shunned, or truth is not going to be looked at as a strange thing. Then shall no man be able to save him that is destroyed, nor to oppress him that hath gotten the victory, because the Lord Yahweh Bashem El Shai is going to set it up. You know, for the righteous to be delivered and for the wicked to be destroyed. Let's move over into the 8th chapter. Let's read a couple of verses here. Let's go to the 50th verse. It says, for many great miseries shall be done to them that in the latter time shall dwell in the world. And that's where we're at. We're in the very end of the latter times, because they have walked in great pride. But understand thou for thyself, and seek out the glory for such as be like thee. And this is why it says, don't let their incredulity, don't let their unbelief trouble you, because they're going to die in their unfaithfulness. But you just keep your faithfulness. You know, we're supposed to keep our faithfulness, you know, and not worry about what the world is doing. For unto you is paradise open. That's why you understand this truth. The tree of life is planted. The time to come is prepared. Plenteousness is made ready. And you have your spiritual flashlights on. A city is builded and rest is allowed, right? Because that's the kingdom. Yea, perfect goodness and wisdom. The root of evil is sealed up from you. So the elect are not going to fall for this BS. This is why they can see through the madness. But the world can't see it. Why? Because the evil is sown in them. This root of evil is sown in them. Weakness and the moth is hid from you, and corruption is fled into hell to be forgotten, meaning to the grave. Sorrows are past, and in the end is showed the treasures of immortality. All right? So let's move on from there. Let's go to 2nd Ezra 9. We're just going to read the first verse. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee there before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest shall begin to visit the world which he made, right? And this is why we see the prophecies popping off like popcorn. Let's see what else we got. A couple more precepts and then we'll close. Let's go from there to 2nd Ezra chapter 14. And verse 5, and then we're going to jump around a little bit. And told him, this is dealing with Moses, and told him many wondrous things, and showed him the secrets of the times and the end, and commanded him, saying, so Moses, in everything that he wrote, you know, he was shown the end times. He was showing everything, because he is a prophet. He is a king. Now let's jump down to the 10th verse. For the world has lost its youth, and the times begin to wax old. And that was 2,500 years ago or so. How much more now in this time? So let's jump to the 15th verse. And set aside the thoughts that are most heavy unto thee, and haste thee to flee from these times. Right. All right. And then, I got two more precepts. This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7. And verses 17 and 18, I believe it is. Yep. It says, for he hath given me certain knowledge of the things that are, namely to know how the world was made and the operation of the elements. Right. And he also gave him the destruction of the world. This is dealing with King Solomon. The beginning, ending, and midst of the times. Yep. The alteration of the turning of the sun and the change of seasons. So he showed King Solomon everything. The beginning of it, the middle of it, and the ending of it. Because that is Yahushai. Now the last precept I have, I'm not sure what this is. So let's go to it. Ecclesiasticus 27 and 12. Let's see what that says. If thou be among the indiscreet, observe the time, but be continually among men of understanding, right? Because they're going to show you the way of life. I forget what that was. Apostle Gabar just quoted that not too long ago. These are the men that show us a way of salvation or something like that. So scriptures say that, know who you learn these things from, and that have been assured of. Hold on to your integrity, hold on to your faith, keep on fighting, especially as you see the day approaching. Things are going to get hard, but the Lord is going to make a way for us to get through somehow, some way. So we can't worry about that. We got to leave it upon him. Cast thy burdens upon the Lord. All right. So with that, I pray that you brothers and few sisters have been edified. Till the next time I say shalom and the water for the precepts that you brothers put up. Shalom.